Right, in this case, they add a to-go fee for $5.45. So that will count against you. You have to, well, it doesn't count against you, but you have to include it in the itemized report so they understand where that $5.45 came from. All right? So now we know how to catch the cartel. You just itemized all their spending. You find out where they're buying the drugs. You kick in their door and you take their money and the weaponry and you send them to prison. Especially take their weaponry. But their drugs are used as weapons too. All right? So we're learning day by day. New Liberty Party. Men to movement. The cartel are going to support abortion, just like the cops. They're no different. They're absolutely no different. The criminal and the cop is no different. Anyone that supports abortion is going to prison. The demon says to grow up. 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 There she goes. The demon says to grow up. Hi, I got the one for Jay. It's probably that one right there. God bless. God bless. God bless. Well, you don't have a God? You know Jesus Christ watches over you. If you don't accept him, you'll burn in hell. Demon says to grow up. The demon says to grow up. Trinity River. As in the Trinity River. All right, got about 11 minutes. We're gonna drop off this Tylicious. Took some time for them to make it, and they got worried. But it's 4.4 miles. It'll be 11 minute in duration. We'll arrive there at 7:44 in the PM. As in post-meridium. As in post-meridium, yummy. You like yummy? Yum. Post-meridium. Post-meridium. I don't know. Just making fun of it. Post-meridium. It's a weird word. Post-meridium. Who uses that word anyway? Well, we all use it every day. What time are you going to be there? 3 p.m. Well, we're going to be there at 7:45 p.m. It means post-meridium. There's also anti-meridium. You got to look up the etymology of the word meridium to really understand it. It's an interesting concept. Everybody's in a hurry. This whole world's in a hurry to end. We're all in a very big hurry. We all want to meet the bride, or not the bride, but we all want to meet Jesus Christ, who is the ruler and our guide. He is a husband. Jesus Christ is a husband to the bride. The bride is the church, male and female. The bride is the church. It says it in the Bible. The bride is the church. If you follow Jesus Christ, you are the church, and you're awaiting. You're awaiting for him to return and take you to heaven, where you'll rest on his bosom. You'll feast with his friends in heaven for all of time. I wrote the scene to Skinny Pete and Friends, a sequel to Better Call Saul. You know, in actuality, it's not really a sequel to Better Call Saul. It's not really one. It just says it is. But it can be interpreted as a sequel to Better Call Saul. And I'd love to meet Vince Gilligan in the courtroom. I'd love to meet him. He's a great guy. I'd love for him to be there in the courtroom. I want him to fight for it, just like David Fincher. What's his name? David Fincher. Just like David Fincher would do. Just like all the filmmakers would do, you know? I'd love to see him. I'd say, Your Honor, There is the First Amendment. Also, I acted on stage with Charles Baker, who played Skinny Pete. There is a certain reason that I want to do this story, because I know they're going to draw lawyers. Of course they do. They don't want me to see my family again. If they did want me to see my family again, they would first stop telling me to grow up, and I tell them grow up, not weed. Grow up, not weed. I'd tell them to grow up, not weed. I would tell them, if you're going to tell me to grow up, then you stop smoking weed, because only a teenager smokes weed, or a dumb kid. Weed will kill you. That's why it's a weed. See, when Jesus comes back, he's going to separate the weed from the wheat. That's what the chaff is, or the chaff. Some call it the chaff. Some call it the chafe. Some call it the chuff. There's all these different words for it. Some call it the weeds. It's what we don't use, that we don't eat. It's the bad stuff. And I would tell them to stop smoking weed. Don't tell me to grow up. There it is. The reason why I won, guys. Because of that right there. That's the reason I will become a billionaire. That flag right there. That's the reason. Blame that. Don't blame God. You can do whatever you want on Facebook, but if you text my phone and threaten me, it's Mira Vista, you'll go to prison. Do you know that? If you text someone over and over again and threaten them, you can take those texts to the police office. And they've got officers that will analyze the text and the phone number that's connected to. You just tell them the person's name. They'll go to their homes, because I work off my phone, and they'll go to their homes and they'll knock on their doors and they'll drag them out of their homes. It happened to a friend of mine. They'll drag them out of their homes and put them in jail. And if they keep doing it, they can get a lot of trouble. Ask Steven Spielberg. Because Steven Spielberg had to put a guy in prison for a very long time.
Thank you.
God bless. So on Facebook, it's somewhat encrypted. So you can go around, insult people on Facebook, and all you got to do is hit, you block them or whatever. But if they're texting your phone and you work off your phone, you can explain to the police office, or you go to the police department, you can say, look, this person's texting my phone and they won't leave me alone. Because people can't always change their phone number. You know, when you talk to a police officer, they ask for your phone number too, so they can contact you and keep in touch with you and things like that. And your phone number, also your family has your phone number as well. So Facebook is a little bit different, because Facebook, look at that dog right there. That dog is cute. Look at that. They're very hard to get like that. It's a little terrier. That's really cute. But anyway, yeah, if someone is texting threatening messages or whatever on your phone all day long, blowing up your phone, sometimes these people, not in this neighborhood, but sometimes these people will keep sending text over, trying to blow out your phone. That's actually illegal. And you can go to the police department and say, look, I have this text that says this and blah, blah, blah. And you can show it to them and see what they do. There's one thing they don't do, though. Here's the thing, is they don't go hunting down your phone. I've talked to police officers before. They don't necessarily go hunting down your phone. Like, oh, they took my phone. Well, we're sorry. Now, you can still get all the information from your company. So if you're with T-Mobile, Verizon, if you're with, what's some other companies? AT&T, they'll keep track of the text, all of them. They've done it in murder cases. And now they can release it. They can keep track of every single text that's sent to you. And they can release it for the courtroom for forensic science. Because all criminal science investigation really is forensic science. It's a study of forensics. If you know what forensics mean, you look it up. Forensic science is a study of patterns, not only in nature, but in people's behavior. So let's say someone's assaulted someone before. and they've gone to jail for it, and they have assault charges, there's a very, very good chance that that person will assault again. Unless they come to the Lord, they surrender their life over to Jesus Christ, and they ask Jesus to help them not assault people, or not purposely hurt people, or purposely send horrible texts to people and stuff like that. So I've had to block people on Facebook for my protection. But I've also had to block people from my phone. And that's when I get in touch with my phone company and report them. I've done it several times. Unfortunately, I had to, because they've come between my marriage with Angel and my 3 kids. Because I have to protect my 3 children. I have David, Elizabeth, and Gwendolyn. And I love them more than anything, and will do anything for them. And I have to protect them. And it's hard. It's a balancing game. It's a delicate balance, right? Because kids are sometimes a little wild. Look at this right here. Is that not something? But sometimes you can make a lot of money by not growing up. I've known people that have done it. And you'll be able to take care of your family and everything by simply not growing up. And the people that are telling you to grow up don't want you to take care of your family, because you will take care of your family as a child, because you are a child of God. That's the reason why God refers to us as his children. We are children of God. Grow up, not weed. Trunk open. Whoever it'll be that will be my wife, we will live in a neighborhood that's nothing like this. This is like apartments compared to where we'll live. Our mansion won't be worth $1 million. Our mansion will be worth $1 billion or more dollars. We'll live in a home that cost $1 billion. There's a difference between the two. Your house might be, I don't know, $100 million. Ours will be at least at the $1 billion mark. And we won't have neighbors this close anywhere. There'll be a gate that will surround our property, far bigger than that, with iron gates and guards at every post. There'll be a long, long road, and it'll take at least 10 or 20 minutes to even get to the home. We'll have guards all around where we live, because we'll start a new Liberty Party, the Men Too movement. We will bring heaven to earth. My wife and I will. We will bring heaven. You'll see it when you drive down our property. You will see that heaven can exist on earth, because we were commanded to do so by our Messiah, who rules over you. Even though you're in bondage, the Messiah rules over you. I know you're suffering, and you will continue to suffer unto death. And you will be rewarded in heaven for suffering. And my wife and I will come and visit your grave, and will remember your name. You will have a plaque in our home and a photo there near our fireplace. You will always be honored every day, because my wife will honor the memory of you. Tonight I will continue on Chin Part 2 and the end of Catch-22 Lady and show her tragic death. She attempts to baptize herself because she can no longer trust man. And she wants to know Jesus Christ, who is a man. So she attempts to baptize herself. Her hair gets caught in the drain. She goes under the water. Her lungs fill with the water, and it's a beautiful tinging sensation. It's almost bliss for a moment. She feels no pain. She cannot free herself from the knot that she has caused in the drain with her hair. She takes in the water and suddenly can feel what it's like to be an amphibian, something like a dolphin or a whale or some type of fish. And she gargles the water one last time and remembers her mother and the wine. And then her heart begins to beat faster and faster, trying to pump the blood that can no longer receive oxygen. And her life is no longer here. She starts to enter the kingdom for real, and the Messiah is there with open arms, awaiting her at the table. Not baiting her, but awaiting her to join the table where there is no fear. No more fear. She turns blue. She stops breathing. No more attempts. Her heart flutters out like the last beating of a butterfly. And the wings stop. And she is no more. The four corners close. And her life ends and then begins in heaven. And though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Hallelujah. Like I said, these are just like apartments. This is like an apartment complex compared to where we'll live. You'll have to drive a half a mile just to get to our home, through all the property that we'll own. The house will be constructed from mostly stone and steel. It'll be worth, once it's finished, $1.4 billion. So about $1.4 billion. We'll have employed over 150 different armed guards. All of them will be equipped with HK-MP7s. We'll have Overwatch snipers on the property with MK13 Mod 5s. Some SR-25s for silencers. They'll be the best trained men on the planet. They'll be trained by Navy SEALs. That's how these guards will be. Amphibious. They'll be able to do anything. They will be paid handsomely, like 6 figures, just to guard us in everything that we do. No one will be allowed on the property without having a screening, a clearance. It'll be crazy. That's how much they'll want to kill a prophet of Jesus Christ. That's how much they'll want to kill. David Koresh was, but he did it the wrong way. Unfortunately. I'll be faithful, but I'll tell this wife of mine that I desire to have a total of 10 children. I already have 4 of them, so she'll be required to have 6, which is tough. That's a tough amount. Six children is tough. That's tough. It's not easy. But there's women that have done it. My doctor, Dr. Horsley, she had 10 children. 10. All right. Linda got a hold of me and she was listening to that song. I was gonna clean my room, but I got high. My friend Rob Vasquez likes that song. Rob Vasquez may work for the Mexican Mafia. I don't know for sure. You'd have to ask him. But he might. Same with Angela Johnston. There's Mira Vista. But I don't know for sure. I don't know 100%. But I know that Mike, his friend Mike, went to prison for selling marijuana. And I know that his friend Aloysius, Al, he went to jail, and he would have gone to prison for selling marijuana, but Rob said that one of the bags was his when they were going to Denton to sell marijuana to people. They were going to UNT, University of North Texas, to sell marijuana. They were right there on Denton Highway. It's like 35 or something like that. They got pulled over by a state trooper. They got searched, and Al went to county jail, and Rob Vasquez went to county jail. Both of them went to jail. Rob he said he had a bag on him, which was actually Al, so he lied for Al. Al should have went to prison for intent to sell. Mike, his best friend, went to prison for intent to sell marijuana. Rob Vasquez might have been involved in the murder of Channing Freelove. He also knows a man named Travis McKnight, who is in California. Jordan McKnight may have died on the streets in Fort Worth under a bridge. His name's Robert Vasquez. He lives on Willing Street. Gotta go. Made a mistake. Robert Vasquez, who may work with the Mexican Mafia and also has sold marijuana, lives on Willing Avenue in Fort Worth. I don't know his exact address, but it's on the east side. It's on the bad side, where all the Latinos live. Eddie Zaratucci knows Rob Vasquez. Adolfo knows Rob Vasquez, who works for Artis de la Rosa. A lot of people know Rob Vasquez. He probably works for the Mexican Mafia. You might want to do some research on it. Angela Johnston's connected. So we have a dramatic end, and I'm going to go for word for what I said, because Homer spoke the Odyssey. He spoke it out loud. He didn't have a typewriter. He didn't have a pencil. He didn't even have a pen. He just spoke the story. So I'm going to basically word for word put it in Chin as the end of Catch-22 Lady, meaning her demise, her end, her death. Or I'll put the death of Catch-22 Lady, and that'll be a chapter. Whether I move it down or move it up, or probably wherever it could open with that chapter, I don't know. But it'll probably end with that chapter, and it may finalize the book, and it may not. We'll have to see. And it will be placed in Chin 2. So I have to find Chin 2, pull it up. I have to go into Microsoft Word. It's going to be a headache. I hate doing it because I wish I had a Apple iPro. Or what do they call it? iPad, an iPad Pro, an Apple iPad Pro, or even just an iMac, because those things function way better. All right, Beverly Jeans, we're going to pick it up and drop it off at your doorstep. If you have an electric car, and I plan to get an electric Porsche. This one is electric, and it's a dual motor. There's the sign on it. It's very, very nice. Look at these right here. I love these. It's great. And here is the other one right here. Sign on it. It's a beautiful car. They're silent. You can't even hear them. That's why I wrote on Skinny Pete and Badger. Actually, I'm sorry. Skinny Pete and Friends. It's they have an electric Porsche. It's blood orange, the color of the electric Porsche. But it's electric, it's Porsche, fully electric, and it's blood orange. That's just a really cool electric one. Hi, it's gonna be that one. I told the men, I always have a good night because I have 3 children. And I also educated some people about the Men Too movement and the New Liberty Party. They seemed very interested. It was a very eccentric guy and a very eccentric lady. They had big smiles on their faces. They now know what the show's about. Anyway, we're gonna drop this pizza off at your door, and we are gonna educate people about the New Liberty Party and protect our family. Also tell them about Will Smith and broccoli and swordfish. That was my code. I said, listen, I got a code on Will Smith. I met him. He ate broccoli and swordfish when he did Ali. Check it out. They can research that. It's kind of one of my codes. I said I knew him before he assaulted Chris Rock. God bless. As in men. 2. The Men Too movement. We're part of the New Liberty Party. We're here to change the world. These companies can be corrupt. We're going back to Beverly Jeans to get the receipt. It is a problem. It does take time, but we can burn more calories doing it, so we can see the positive side to it. So I am going to go back. I am going to talk to the guy and see if he'll provide me a receipt. Okay? We're going to do that right now. And it's a receipt, but it's not. It's halfway itemized, but it has no price on it. It has an order number and it has everything on it right here. So we're gonna have to try our best to get the real receipt. Usually they can get it from this. I know, I don't do it. But they won't allow us to move forward unless we get price. Thank you. And God bless. Yes, thank you. Got it. Now we can move forward. I got it right here. And they're all the way from Florida. All right, we got 4.5 miles. We'll be there in 13 minutes. The time is 8:40 on the arrival, the ETA. We'll be there very soon. Drop off your Beverly Jeans pizza. Talk about the New Liberty Party and health coverage. We are going to allow anyone that makes $20,000 or less to have absolutely free health coverage. That includes ER visits, that includes cancer treatments, that includes anything that's wrong with you. If you make $20,000 and less, it's absolutely free, no cost. You don't even have to give any information to the hospital or anything. When you show up, you would be put on what's called saving grace. Saving grace is basically what it means is that you're saved by the hospitality of the hospital. And you would say, I make less, or I make 20,000 or less, then they would put you down for saving grace and put a check mark. And you would be able to see a doctor, get prescribed medication, get everything that you need. Now, let's say you're making more than $20,000 a year. There's programs that we can put you on where you'd pay like $100 a month and you'd be able to get great health insurance. Just like a simple $100 a month. This goes all the way up to about $50,000. After $50,000, sorry, let me repeat myself, sorry. After $50,000 and higher, then you would have to seek out health insurance. You can try to find what Obama tried to create, which was known as Obamacare, if it's still available, or the alternative of Obamacare if it's available. And you'd have to seek out your own health care plan if you made $50,000 or higher. But if you're extremely poor and you're making $20,000 and under, you're on a saving grace plan. The government's going to help you out. They're going to, if you have to go in the ER, they're not going to charge you $50,000 for the visit. Like my wife, Angel Curry, also known as Cole Spivey, she was charged, I think it was a ridiculous amount for just going in and being put on IV, where I think she almost died. She almost died a few times. This was before she had children. Then when she had children, I think it was the third child that we had, which was Gwendolyn Hope Spivey. When we had Gwendolyn Hope, she was still covered on the women's plan. She knows the name of it if you ask her. She's a writer. Angel is. She writes. She has a great idea for a book, and I don't know if she's implemented the idea or if she's working on the book. I pray that she is. It's about her life, because she was born with spina bifida, and we had to get a special doctor to help us with all 3 births. His name is Ron Livingston, I believe. He's a doctor. I may have got the first name wrong, but the last name is Livingston. He's a great doctor, probably one of our best doctors in the nation. He helped Angel and I through all 3 pregnancies, and we had it was like a women's health program, and she was able to go to all of the visits. I went to every single visit with her, all the gynecology, the visits where they do the sonogram, all of that was taken care of. Okay, so that we could go and look at the sonogram, and I don't eat a whole lot nowadays. I'm very sorry that I can't get all the words right. I'm doing the best that I can. But we would go to all the doctor visits for the children, including David, Elizabeth, and Gwendolyn, up to birth. And we never paid the hospital anything. Now, before she got pregnant, she did pass out, and she did have to be taken to the ER. And I think there was a few times we had to take her, and she had to get a CAT scan. All of that kind of stuff would be covered with the New Liberty Party. We would cover all of it if you're poverty stricken. So if you're 20,000 and under, you have nothing to worry about. You're in what's called hardship, and we call it saving grace. Okay, it's just a way of using words that means that you're hardship, rather than saying hardship, which is kind of insulting. We would say that you're under the saving grace plan. It's a plan that the government would be behind to help the poor receive a doctor. Now, let's say you have cancer, okay? My uncle, Robert Cam, not the son who is Robert Cam, but this is my uncle, Robert Cam. He had horrible cancer. I don't know the exact type of cancer, but it killed him. And he struggled with it for years. It finally caught up with him, and he died at 80 pounds, okay? We're talking skinnier than David Bowie. They said that he looked like E.T., my cousins did. His eyes were bulging out, and he could no longer lift his head up, okay? He was a pretty poor guy, meaning he didn't have a lot of money. He wasn't like very wealthy. He wasn't a millionaire or anything like that. But he did receive cancer treatments, but probably not the best. Because what they did to him with chemo and everything, it killed him a little quicker, because chemo can kill you. We're going to work very hard around the clock, 24 hours a day with the New Liberty Party. We're going to work with having the best healthcare program that you can receive when fighting cancer, because cancer does kill. We understand it's an enemy in nature, and we understand it needs to be studied and researched. We're going to find ways to provide the best care for the poverty-stricken that suffer with cancer. It's going to be one of our top concerns. It's not just going to be reforming the police. We're anti-policing. We don't want the police out there killing people. We don't want cancer out there killing people either. Okay? We're going to make sure that you're taken care of, and that you have the best medical health, meaning that you have the best medical doctor that will take care of your health, and you don't even have to worry about your wealth. That your health is your health, and it is all that you have. That's why we're against smoking marijuana. We're against smoking cigarettes. We're against alcoholism. We want to be a healthy party. Okay? I'm not saying go out there and be a vegan, you know? I'm not saying go out there and be the best vegetarian in the world, but we're going to practice environmental health and our bodies being healthy. And we're going to provide the very best care. And we're going to do it jealously so that your family is taken care of in health crisis, especially if you're poor. Especially if you're poor.